little more than a year ago, my 20-year-old daughter died from a heroin overdose. And she had been battling an addiction for a few years, which started with a legitimate prescription for hydrocodone. She'd had some back pain that resulted from repeated snowboarding accidents and intense soccer playing, and ended up with a ruptured disc and a herniated disc. And it was probably 3 or 4 weeks into her using the medication when I realized that she was using more than she should. And we ended up discontinuing her refills. But apparently it was too late. She was already hooked. She would be clean for a while, and then she would relapse, and then her final relapse killed her.
In my personal practice and in my family life, unauthorized prescription usage has been problematic. People die from overdose of prescribed or prescriptioned narcotics, for example. And often the use of prescription drugs, the misuse of prescription drugs, is a gateway to cocaine and other street drugs.
Yeah, of course, I've heard of kids getting together and having farm parties. Everybody brings prescriptions that they can find, and they put them in a bowl and they start taking them, and which just kind of blows my mind. I can't imagine taking something that I don't know how it's going to affect me or how I'm going to react to it.
Prescription drugs are abused more than any other type of drug except for marijuana. 3/4 of the people who abuse prescription drugs in West Virginia get them from their family and friends. Some people ask, what's the harm in sharing prescription drugs? The answer is plenty. West Virginia has one of the highest death rates in the nation from unintentional overdose, mostly from drugs available by prescription. Each year, more than 2,500 hospitalizations in our state are due to alcohol and drugs, including the misuse of prescriptions. More than half of our domestic violence cases involve substance abuse as a contributing factor or as a coping mechanism for the victim. Employees who abuse prescription and other drugs are less productive and are a hazard to themselves and their coworkers. By all accounts, prescription drug abuse has serious and sometimes devastating consequences. Many people believe it's an issue that we can and should do something about. During this forum, we'll talk about 3 different approaches for dealing with the problem. We'll consider the pros and cons of each approach and what actions we'd be willing to take as individuals and as a community. Approach 1 says that the best way to reduce prescription drug abuse is to prevent it from happening in the first place. Most people have no idea that sharing their prescription drugs is dangerous and illegal. And people who take other people's prescriptions are often unaware of the risks, like accidental overdose, a bad reaction with another drug, or possible addiction. What people need is clear and reliable information. Knowing the dangers will stop many people from sharing their pills or from taking pills that weren't prescribed to them. Specific advice also helps, like keeping prescription drugs in a locked cabinet. Actions we can take include launching a community awareness project about the prescription drug abuse and how to prevent it, participating in the statewide Take Care media campaign, including public service announcements and posters, engaging business, civic, and religious groups to help educate all members of the community.
You started using pills. Was there a certain type of pill?
It was hydros, perks. I did a little bit of speed.
When
Most
you
simple
were
things.
using, at the height of your use, how much were you doing, would you say?
About 20 pills a day.
About 20 pills a day?
Mm-hmm. It was pretty easy to get hooked onto it because you got, the first high and you liked being up there. But then it was like you had to keep it going. You had to fight to get the high. And then I started turning mean, and I was trying to back off of them and went back down to depression and got right back on them again.
Approach 2 says that strong law enforcement is key to protecting the community and discouraging prescription drug abuse. People won't take the problem seriously or change their behavior unless we treat prescription drug abuse like we do other illegal activity. We need police officers to enforce drug laws in all situations, including those involving prescription drugs. But law enforcement agencies can't solve the problem by themselves. Community members must also do their part. Parents, teachers, employers, and others must respect and reinforce rules designed to create drug-free communities. Actions we take include securing more funds to train and support police officers in dealing with prescription drug abuse, support the expansion of drug courts, encouraging pharmacists to check the state's prescription drug database when they're concerned that a customer is getting the same prescription from multiple doctors.
She has said to me numerous times, Mom, I just wish there was something close to home. There's something about, for chemical dependency, that when that person, for her for example, finally sees the state that they have woke up and found themselves in, they want to be near, most of the time, their mother, wherever their mother is, and of course their dad too, but there's something about a mom. But yes, she has said to me repeatedly, Mom, what is an area where I can find treatment or help? And
Approach 3 says that we need to offer effective programs to those who want to stop abusing prescription and other drugs. Early intervention, treatment, and recovery programs can help many people get off drugs and turn their lives around. Whether someone becomes addicted to prescription drugs or illicit drugs, the need for treatment and support is much the same. But access to high quality and affordable services is key. That's a challenge in West Virginia due to lack of programs, especially in rural areas. Limited public funding is another barrier for people who don't have money or insurance to pay for services. Actions we take can include creating early intervention programs for youth in the early stages of prescription drug abuse, expanding treatment and recovery programs in underserved areas so people can get help close to home, providing more public funding and better insurance coverage for programs that help people recover from drug addiction.
For me, in my community, I feel like there's a general lack of awareness that it truly is a problem, and families, individuals are battling an addiction every day right in our own community. And I think if we would just start with raising awareness and letting people know this is happening, I think many people would move to the next step of, all right, what can we do about it?
So there's no county, no town, no community in the state of West Virginia or elsewhere in this country that is immune to this problem. It's time for us as a community to gather our resources and begin to understand it and develop strategies to meet it.